Hey there, Skeletor. Coming back at you with this week's comic haul, and this week we're looking at DC's All-In Special #1, Godzilla Rivals One-Shot, Mechagodzilla vs. King Ghidorah, and Batman 153. Alright, so kicking things off, DC's All-In Special #1. This definitely is a special one. Depending on how you flip it, it's either the main universe or this brand new All-In universe. And when you look at the covers, the new one is called Omega, and the original universe is Alpha. Alpha is written by Joshua Williamson and Scott Snyder, with art by Daniel Samperi. The Omega issue has art by Wes Craig. For as much as this is the DC Universe and it's the Justice League, this is really more of a Booster Gold story. The Justice League creates a new card, a membership card, and basically if you've ever seen the Justice League Unlimited TV show, this is the first episode of that. We're bringing in everybody. Booster Gold is one of them. There's a new watchtower out in space. Everybody shows up, and in the middle of it all, something goes horribly wrong. The boom tubes explode, and Darkseid starts coming in. Except this time, he's got an axe for a hand. We'll find out what's going on with that in just a minute. The Justice League fly into battle, and they realize that Darkseid has somehow absorbed the spirit of the Spectre, and I'm not too big on DC lore like that, but I'm pretty sure Spectre is one of those cosmic entities. He represents death or something like that. But they managed to rip the Spectre out of Darkseid, which kills him, and he says thank you. Darkseid thanks them for killing him. He explodes, and we see a huge, rip in time and space. After a little scientific shenanigans, Batman realizes the only people capable of traveling through that rift are people who are already time travelers, because they're covered in chronal energy or whatever. And Booster realizes that's the whole reason he's part of the Justice League. He is a time traveler, which means he was born for this mission. They send him through the wormhole, or rip in time, and he lands on what looks like Metropolis, but it's been taken over by Darkseid. The Justice League realize Booster's been gone too long, and we need to find a way to pull him out. Some way to bring him back. Unfortunately, Booster seems to be stuck there, and the final page is Darkseid sending a buttload of minions at him. And I'm willing to bet, I can make a guess on some of these guys. I'm like, that's a Brainiac. I think that's probably Steel. That might be Supergirl, but I don't know who most of these characters are. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this might be some Darkseid version of the Legion of Superheroes. Either way though, that's dead center middle of the book, and it's a pretty big book. So we flip it over and go to the other side. And this picks up 52 days before what we just read, and it's the story of Darkseid giving up his mission to conquer everything because he found some new machine that'll give him his every wish. It just requires blood. So he cuts off his hand, which is why when he showed up earlier, it was replaced with an axe. He also kills his son, Calibac, because the machine requires much more blood. And through the whole issue, Darkseid is hunting for him. We're not going to find out who he is for a minute yet, but the machine allows him to travel to hell. He fights his way through hell. Then Darkseid appears in heaven, fights a bunch of angels. Then finally he appears on the dark side of the moon, covered in blood and angel wings. And this is where we find who he's been looking for this whole time, Eclipso, who challenges Darkseid to a game of chess. And I'll be honest here, Eclipso just looks like DC's version of Green Goblin. They have a little bit of a power struggle, and it looks like Eclipso is winning, until Darkseid reveals he set a timer and then dropped a teleporter into the sun. And once that teleporter opens, the sun basically explodes, wiping out everything except Darkseid. And down in Eclipso's basement is where we find the Spectre. Darkseid absorbs him, and then jumps into battle against the Justice League, which we've already seen, but now we're seeing it from a different point of view. All the wording is the same, but the art is different. I don't know, it's interesting. But once we get to the part where Darkseid gets killed, he's immediately reborn out in the void because he's some kind of omniversal presence. Like, the Darkseid in the comic is the same Darkseid from the cartoon, who's the same Darkseid from the movie. These are body avatars. The real Darkseid's still out there. But he creates a new world, one that's more to his liking, and he understands he can't just create a world without heroes. Some things are constants in the multiverse. So we get his version of Wonder Woman, who I believe is birthed from hell instead of Amazon's. We see Batman, who is in this world moneyless and mansionless and just I'm guessing a brawler and not a detective. And we get a glimpse of Superman, who looks like he's crash landed out in a jungle somewhere. I don't know. You get one page of each character, and it's just enough to let you know that they exist in this world. And then we cut to Booster Gold dropping into this new world, and that brings us back to the middle of the book. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this. This was way better than I was anticipating. Especially since I prefer Batman and not the actual DC universe, but you know what, it's pretty good. I do kind of feel like I probably didn't need to read this in order to read Absolute Batman, which will be coming out in like a week or two. Overall though, I'd say this was a easy, fun read. It wasn't too lore heavy, but it definitely, it hit all the beats it should have. The Alpha art was really good. The Omega art was very stylized. I wasn't that big a fan of it, but it definitely was good. I would say this is a solid 3, but because it's so inventive of just one comic, flip the book over, read the same comic, and they both connect at the same page in the middle, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Right off the bat, all in, 4 out of 5. Next up is Batman number 153. This is the start of a brand new story arc with art by George Jimenez, I'm sorry, and story by Chip Zdarsky. This is The Dying City Part 1. Kind of get a call back to Bruce Wayne's parents dying, crime alley, family taking a wrong turn, except where the mugger would kill the parents, he's actually just like, oh, you're lost. You need to turn around, take a few blocks this way, hit the detour, make a left. Didn't go the way you think it would, and it turns out Batman and Jim Gordon are watching from up top. And they're both talking about how the city's been quiet lately, things have gotten better, and Batman's like, yeah, it's just the quiet before the storm. Something's up. It's revealed that Edward Nygma, the Riddler, has been released from jail, on a technicality, and he's started his own tech startup company. You need something encrypted? The Riddler is your man. Of course, Batman shows up to have a few words with him, but as of yet, Riddler hasn't done anything wrong, so it's okay. We also find out that the Court of Owls has been blackmailing the mayor, and due to how Bruce Wayne has been using charity funds, redistributing them, the general public is calling Bruce Wayne a commie, which I honestly thought was kind of funny. We also get a look at his new driver, Miguel, because sometimes I forget Alfred has been dead for like 6 years in the comics now, and we find out that someone's trying to get Wayne Enterprises to merge with Nygma Enterprises, or Nygma whatever. Riddler's trying to buy out Bruce Wayne. We cut over to a heist in progress. Batman stops it just in time for some new hero to show up, who goes by the name Commander Starr. One of the guys tries to run away, and right as Batman gets ready to chase him down, Commander Starr just shoots him in the kneecap. Batman freaks out, and the Commissioner comes over, and I completely forgot this is still a holdover from a previous situation. Gordon is running his own private eye business, while Vandal Savage, the immortal caveman guy, is now the Commissioner. I completely forgot that's still a thing. But the mayor says there's too many vigilantes. Vandal Savage agrees and says since there's only room for one, police, take down Batman. Batman pulls old escape act. I'm guessing he went into a sewer because it's broad daylight. And we see Bruce walking home, the mayor walking home, and the Riddler walking around his new building. Somebody, we don't know who yet, has shot the mayor. Bruce is being informed of it, and the Riddler leaves us with one last riddle for this issue. And let me know in the comments if you can figure this one out. I am the end. I am mystery. When I arrive, you are history. What am I? I've been thinking about this for hours. I legitimately can't figure that one out. But the final page, the big question, who shot the mayor? And Bruce, do you have a brother? There's also a little side backup story for AEW. This definitely looks like some kind of wrestling thing. I do not know enough about that to know who Swerve Strickland is, or who any of these people are. Overall, as far as getting a new story arc going, this wasn't bad. I definitely love the art. I think overall, this is our 3 out of 5, maybe a 2. I'm gonna say a 3 out of 5. I definitely enjoyed All In Special a little bit more, but this is what I like. Batman in Gotham City, just doing basic detective stuff. I just personally would have liked a little bit more action out of it, I guess. I mean, again, for the first issue of a new story, you kind of need to be a little extra wordy. There's going to be more talking than action. That's okay. That's just how these things work. But this isn't bad, and I usually read Batman anyway, so. And next up, this was the top pick of the week. Godzilla Rivals. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Since it's a one-shot, it doesn't really seem like it needs to fit into any continuity, or at least none that I'm aware of. Oh, by the way, this is written by Tom Waltz and art by Casey Maloney. There is a lot going on here. There's a lot of storytelling. It's really good, it's really engaging, but I can sum this up pretty easily. Not that there's anything wrong with that. This is the fall of Atlantis. This is the story of how Atlantis sunk beneath the waves. According to most legends, in real life, Atlantis would have sunk around the time the pyramids were beginning to get built in Egypt. So keeping that in mind, you know, we're at the height of this civilization. These guys are at the height of their technological and magical prowess. So they have the wherewithal to make a guardian to help protect their city, which would be Mechagodzilla, because nobody alive in Atlantis has ever seen Godzilla, but there are tales that Godzilla used to protect their ancestors. So in modern day, why not build your guardian to represent Godzilla? Our main character is Old Benny. He's been exiled to a cave out at the edge of the city, and we get this really beautiful page. You can see all of Atlantis here. It's a really cool looking page. Old Benny keeps having prophecies of the apocalypse every time he goes to sleep, and we find out that Atlantis has been kind of doing something of a cold war against Lemuria, which is now starting to heat up as Lemuria sends suicide bombers into Atlantis. You also see the Atlantean police force kind of dressed like Power Rangers, and their helmets are like a cross between Jet Jaguar and Mechagodzilla. It's kind of neat. Stupid, but kind of neat. As it turns out though, the leader of Atlantis is secretly working for a cult, which is trying to wake up King Ghidorah. And we don't quite know where King Ghidorah crash landed into the earth ever so long ago, but in order to wake him up, we need the blood of virgins. AKA, it's time to kill a lot of children. Benny sees this from afar and realizes, okay, this guy is crazy, I gotta put a stop to this. And he gets down there and manages to disrupt the whole thing just in time to save the kids. Unfortunately, that means that the ritual was not completed properly. The leader decides, screw it, I'm just gonna wake up Ghidorah anyway, and has Mechagodzilla activate to destroy the Golden Pyramid. At first glance, I'm like, why would you do that? But turns out that's where Ghidorah has been sleeping this whole time. Mechagodzilla launches off everything it's got, wakes up it looks like a Ghidorah ball, a Ghidorah egg. Deep down at the bottom of the ocean, Godzilla wakes up, because you're not having a Godzilla comic without Godzilla. And then it turns into a three-way battle. It's a decent fight. It's not bad. I mean, given it's a comic and not a movie, it's not bad. Mechagodzilla's firing off on all cylinders. Benny gets the kids to safety. Godzilla forces Mechagodzilla to destroy its own control room, leaving it helpless. And then, because this is what 70s Mechagodzilla is known for, Godzilla rips his head off. Then King Ghidorah takes him up into the sky and drops him. Not to say they're working together or anything, but Ghidorah flies off after that. They don't even try to do a secondary fight. And I gotta say, the artwork on Godzilla is not great. I can't tell if he's supposed to be 70s Godzilla or early 90s Godzilla. I don't, this person's good at drawing people. They're not necessarily good at drawing monsters. But pissed off that Ghidorah flew away and there's no one left to fight, Godzilla decides to destroy Atlantis. And the children that Benny managed to save are floating off on a ship to find new land, which would be Egypt. There you go. The story of how Atlantis sank, because Godzilla woke up and couldn't get a proper fight. I want to say this is a 5 out of 5. I had the most fun with this. This was the most engaging book of the week, which is really saying something, because I was really into DC All In. My only complaint is the artwork. Godzilla kind of looks like a turd in every other panel. I really want to say this is a 5 out of 5, but the artwork at the end for that fight just bothers me so much. I would say it's a 4 or a 4.5 out of 5. If we're rounding, I guess it's gonna have to be a 4, but I want to get as close to 5 as possible. This is really good. If you like Godzilla at all, I 100% recommend this. Well, those have been my picks for the week, and I'm surprised. I think this is actually the first time I've had one of these where I didn't pick up a Marvel book. I've been Skeletor. Catch you next time. Oh yeah, and check out the rest of the channel. There's some pretty cool stuff going on there. Gonna have some Halloween stuff coming up soon. See you later, stay safe, and if you don't get caught.